This is something I planted late in the winter, so most of the action is in seeds. I'm actually a little impressed with the onions. They are doing a lot better than I thought they would. Hi, welcome back to my garden update. And yes, I planted more seeds. If you're new here, I'm Catherine, the Aerogarden homesteader, and I started more seeds because it is seed starting season and I just need to make sure I get everything that I need started. And this time I actually planted a lot of cucumbers, some watermelon, a little bit of winter squash. I did plant another pepper. I'm planting a habanero. We, on random, just basically bought some seeds to give it a try. And I mean, maybe I'll try to make some hot sauce. That would be really cool to do. And I did plant the ground cherries because I wanted to see if those seeds were any good, and I really want to try ground cherries. I think we'll like them, but I have not gotten them to start for me yet, at all. And then over here, these are basically more cucumbers, more pumpkins, and yeah, just more cucumbers, more pumpkins, more watermelon. These ones will be for sale. I always plant up a few extra and just sell a few extra just to sort of spread the wealth a little bit. So that's kind of what's going on with that. And then free space doesn't last very long down here, so I have filled up my free space, unfortunately. I'm going to have to take all that down again to get some Aerogardens up and running. But I have not really started too many new Aerogardens right now down here. So most of the action is in seeds, seedlings, and what's going on upstairs in the Aerogarden. And this is how the green beans are doing. They are doing really well. I think at this point I have managed to get all of them to come up. I think this was my last holdout here. They are doing really well. I've already had to lift the light. I haven't even fed them. I actually need to feed them. Today is feeding day, so everything will get fed. But yeah, they're looking really good. Now over on this side, everything's empty on this side, and I'm probably never going to do celery again in an Aerogarden, and this is why. When I was pulling it out, you probably really can't see that, but it kind of damaged this little spout here a little bit, just trying to pull it out, because the root ball and all that just got so big, and it was just so stuck in there. So yeah, I am not allowed to do celery anymore in my Aerogardens for just that reason. I think most of the other things do fine. There are a few that I've had, like pepper plants, that they kind of get a little big sometimes, and they're a little hard to get out, but they weren't nearly as hard as trying to get that big, huge clump of celery out. So I don't think I'm going to do that again. And over here, the seedlings are doing pretty good. I have up-potted some more. They are stuck inside today because I am expecting some rain, and I don't want to get the rack all wet, but over here, the mammoth sunflower is doing really well. I think I might need to separate these into more pots just to give them a little bit more space before we put them in the ground. And everything else is doing pretty good, so I'm really pleased with that. I do have some small plants here on the bottom that I've just kind of been, you know, keeping an eye on. This one I think didn't do well, but these are just extra Rio Grande that were just too small to try to plant up. They were just too small to plant up for selling. And then the onions, I'm actually a little impressed with the onions. They are doing a lot better than I thought they would for old seeds. I had always heard that onion seeds, once they get, you know, if you don't use them the year you buy them, they're no good. Well, they are good. They're good for another year. They may not be as, they may not come up as much as they would have the first year, you know, the germination rate, but I mean, they look pretty good. I don't know how many seeds I put down, but it's not too bad. Then the fennel is doing pretty good. I have not grown fennel before, but these were new seeds, so I'm not surprised that they're doing really well. Well, this is how all of these seedlings inside are doing. I will go and show you how the outside garden is doing. And finally, the winter garden. I'm actually kind of impressed with some of the winter sowing I gave a try to. So this is some nasturtium that was just in the garden from last year. It obviously self-seeded. This over here, I don't know if you can see it, is something I planted late in the winter. I don't think the other one came up. I planted another one kind of on the other side. I don't think it's come up yet. That one did. Those are seeds that I planted last year, and they were tiny little seedlings when fall hit. They miraculously overwintered. I think these are rutabaga. I'm not 100% sure. There's another one kind of poking up through the netting over here. So that one's doing pretty good. And then I do have just a ton of dill. The dill's self-seeded and it's coming up. That's all of these little, oh my goodness, all of these little seedlings here are dill. But this is something I winter sowed as well. So I think it's definitely a technique worth trying, just to directly seed right into the ground. I mean, they did wait for the conditions to be right, but some things are actually kind of growing. So this was, unless this is something else, this was supposed to be a beet that I planted. I planted some beet seeds in here. So I think they might be coming up. And then I did try planting some carrot. So this might be carrot. I'm not 100% sure. But I think nothing has come up in this one yet. But I think just having the sprinklers on and being, you know, a little more consistent with the water has really helped. The strawberry plants are doing really well. These are the ones I want to keep. I do actually need to move these ones on the other side of that scallop border, which we got to move the scallop border anyways, but these ones are kind of in the way. They're kind of along the path, and then I do need to get rid of all of those white ones. Tempted to take all those white ones and plant them out front just to create a mat over the bedding, just to prevent weeds. And my soil blocks, they were a little on the delicate side. I had them on the ground and the sprinklers overwatered them. So, yeah, I do need to water these, by the way. I know that, but it's supposed to rain today. I might give them a light watering and then let the rain do its job. These ones are ready to go in the ground. I think just about all of them have sprouted. This one didn't. That one didn't. But this one looks really good. This one can go in the ground as well. I think I'm always a little bit late on my pea plants. But the hard part is, so I've got the trellis is over here right by this big hedge. And the little birds like to nest in it and roost and whatever. And so they'll just pop out of the bush onto the trellis and eat my peas. My pea plants, my pea shoots, my pea flower, everything. So it's like I can't put the peas there without covering them. And I don't have the covering yet because the covering's on the ground right now. So it's just one of those catch-22s. I need to reorganize the garden and I just haven't had the mental space to do that right now. Plus it's cold and I think I'm sick again. But yeah, the trees are looking pretty good. So the pears, these two pear trees, they get shaded out by the big bush. So they don't quite get as much sun as the apple, which is starting to flower, or the cherry. So these ones get a lot more sun. So they do tend to come out a little earlier, you know, just timing wise, because of the shade issue, and the flowers do pop out earlier on cherries and apples. So, but yeah, no, everything's starting to look really good. It's all waking up. I'm really pleased with the winter sowing, so that's made me happy. The garlic is doing really well. I'm really pleased with that. So it looks like a lot of the elephant garlic has come up. I've got quite a bit going down the row there. I have some onions that I planted. So these were just random onion bulbs that had sprouted that I planted. And then some of the onion seeds and the leeks, so these are the leeks over here, they have continued growing. So I could probably pull some of those and eat those, preferably before they flower. And then this is more garlic all down here and it's looking really good as well. And then on top of that, I do have, I think these are some of the ones that I had winter sown as well. Damn airplane. But they're doing pretty good as well. I don't know if all of them came up because I did plant some more over here and oh yeah, there's some right here. Let me get a little closer. There's some right here that's coming up and there might be some over there that's coming up. This one was more like a line of things that I planted that were supposed to be smaller. So we'll see how that does. And then over in the other garden, I did put in some lettuce seed just to try it. It was kind of a little on the old side, so I'm not holding my breath on it, but it would be nice if it did actually produce some lettuce. This is the lemon balm. It's coming back, so that's good. Some of the stuff near the edge, it was near the edge. I don't know if it just didn't come back because of the, you know, the freezing issue or what. I'm hoping the chamomile overwintered okay and I don't have to reseed it. It would be nice. The catmint is coming back, although again, it seems a little slower around the edges. It is coming back though. And then I do think there is a couple of, so here, Not this one, I think that's just a weed, but this one looks like it's a seed from the calendula. See? Right here, that's actually a calendula seed right there. So I think this is calendula coming back. That is mint coming back. More mint. The mint will just spread throughout this whole bed, but I'm hoping the calendula will self-seed itself a little bit. I did plant a bit of calendula, so I can always fill in a few gaps. And then over here, I don't think the parsley definitely didn't make it. This is basil, it definitely didn't make it, but I'm kind of hoping the basil will have dropped some seeds. Those look like the thyme made it, so that's good. And then over here, not 100% sure any of the marigold self-seeded, but I might have had some of the, I think this is the California poppy right here. So that might have self-seeded, but my daughter is going to put some of her flowers in here, so we will see what she opts to put in and how it does. So this is how the garden is waking up. There really isn't a whole bunch of other things going on. Strawberries are doing its thing, fruit trees are doing their things, chickens are being noisy, but yeah, no. So I hope you are following along and joining me on this gardening adventure. I will have some videos up at the end that you might enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.